For the record, Eugene Teo has one of the nicest home gyms. Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope your workouts are going really well. And if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do by hitting that subscribe button down below and the thumbs up and the notification bell as well. Again, I would really appreciate it. Today, it is Eugene Teo's Ganbaru app. That one we are reviewing, okay? And overall, yes, it is a fantastic app, okay? If you get it, you're gonna have a good time. Believe me. Eugene Teo, for those who don't know, I'm sure most of you have heard of him before, but he's a personal trainer who's been doing it since 2009. He did it for about 8 or 9 years of that, straight training clients, and then he started doing seminars all over the world really after that, and he gathered quite a bit of a following. He has around 240,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel now. Again, a ton on Instagram. He's very well known, but with that very large audience, he also has a very large amount of knowledge as well when it comes to training, okay? He is a very smart guy, and that reflects in his app and what he gives access to in terms of the content, what he iterates, what he explains, the programs that he puts in there, all are very well done. Now, do I have some feedback? Of course I do. I have feedback in everything that I review, but we'll get to that in just a minute. But to get into the app itself, okay, there's a number of sections. One thing that I can compare it to, honestly, is like Joe Bennett's Hypertrophy Coach app, okay? It's kind of similar in terms of the content that you get access to, along with the knowledge that you're gaining access to, okay? And actually, he has Joe Bennett in the app explaining a hypertrophy masterclass in one of the sections, actually. So that's, honestly, actually pretty cool. The two of those guys collaborating with one another. But, the most important section to start with is that learning section. With that, you learn all the principles, okay? From a crash course on how to build muscle, nutrition, how programs work, how to do programming, how to track your progress. You name it, it's in that learning section, okay? So there's pretty much nothing that you're not gonna end up learning or not know by the end of that section. He's also constantly adding more and more content to it. Do I think a little bit more can be added still? Yes, I do, but again, he will eventually get to it. Joe Bennett's Hypertrophy Coach app is still king in terms of the sheer amount of content in there to watch, but Coach Teo's is still excellent. It still has a ton of content from you to learn from. Okay, so you're not going to be left guessing, and he does excellent job at explaining the principles behind hypertrophy, strength, whatever it is that's in there that he's explaining, does an excellent job with it. There's also a watch section where he collaborates with really smart people like Joe Bennett, Dr. Jordan Shallow, also known as the Muscle Doc. John Meadows is another one that he collaborated with, going over not only principles on, muscle building principles and stuff like that, but in some of it he goes over how to deal with knee pain, how to deal with elbow pain, back pain, stuff like that, okay? So again, there's a lot of really amazingly good content in the app, okay? If you watch all of it and go through it, you're not really going to be left with second guessing or not knowing much else. So you have a very good, solid idea and base on how to go about training, okay? Then there's also a diet tracker section, so it doesn't give you a specific diet plan, but if you have a diet in mind, you can keep track of it that way. Any good app is gonna have that, so again, it's good that he has it. But then finally, let's get into the programs themselves, okay? So this right here is mainly what you wanna know about. The other ones are immensely important. Those are the ones you should be going through first, okay? But then once you do, in fact, get through to the programs themselves, you have a ton to choose from here. So he has a bunch of programs for you that you can try out. He has ones on power building, an advanced power building one. He has one on prep, which is mainly for beginners. He has a minimalist program, which is primarily for those who has minimal amount of equipment at home. So let's say you have a set of bands and some dumbbells. He has a program cover there. He has one on hypertrophy, one on push-pull legs, full body, half body. He has a ton of programs on there that covers every type of split or type of training that you would want to have access to. So you're not left with just one specific program and that's it. No, you have an immense list to choose from. And each program has 3 phases. That's something that he has kept pretty consistent with it, each one being 4 weeks long, each phase. And when it comes to the programming, he does an excellent job here as well. Again, he's a really smart guy and he knows what he does, what he's doing when it comes to programming. Having said that, there's some programs that I did look through that I wouldn't say that I have disagreements. I just have a slight difference in opinion or something that I would change a little bit. But before I get into that, let's go through what you get access to with the program itself in terms of the workouts. So let's say you select the power building one. It brings you to a page that explains what the program is about. There's also a little video fully explaining what the program is, what to expect, what you need to get out of it, okay? It also shows you what the split is gonna be like, how many times a week it's going to be, what you're going to be doing on those days. And then when you get into the specific workouts themselves, it gives you actually everything you need to get through that workout, okay? So you can keep track of not only the reps you completed and the weights you did, and it tells you the rep range to shoot for, okay? And I actually like it that it has a rep range instead of a specific number of reps. He also provides a space to record the weight that you put in. And there's also, this is actually, I really like this as well, there's a little button there that says change. And if you click on that, you can swap the exercise out for something else. And he gives you usually 2 or 3 exercises that you can swap out with. Now, you can't swap it out with anything. I mean, you can. It's your choice. But the 3 he recommends, those are the ones that you can pick from. And then you can swap it out to which of those 3 or 2, whichever he provides there. You can swap it out with those. So I like that he has that as well. Each exercise also has a video demonstrating the exercise. And it's not just the little demo showing him doing the exercise. He provides a full explanation on how to do the exercise, why he has you do it a specific way, the best way to do it, how to get into position, the right technique. Okay, he's very thorough with every exercise and every video. One thing to keep in mind here though, guys, is pay attention a little bit because there are some videos where he actually had it mixed up a little bit. So if you, for example, go into that power building one, there's one of the workouts, you're supersetting a incline dumbbell press with a flat dumbbell press. It makes sense. Some of you might say, why are you supersetting it? If you go into the programming, the way he has it done in terms of the volume and the technique and everything he's looking for you, it actually does make sense. But one thing to pay attention is he actually mixed up the exercise demonstration videos with those. So he actually, if you click on it, he shows the demonstration for the incline press. Instead, he's showing the dumbbell flat press for that one, and then the incline dumbbell press with the flat bench instead. So just pay attention with that. It's not the biggest deal in the world, okay? Just, keep that in mind. Just make sure you're paying attention. But other than the videos themselves, in terms of demonstrations, what he's looking for, and the explanations for every exercise is very good. And he also provides an exercise library there in the app, so you can go and look in there. So if you search a specific exercise that you want to see or get some ideas, he has them all listed there as well. And then in terms of the programming itself, again, I think he did an excellent job with this. There's some areas where I would change a few things. For example, on a lower body day, like in that power building program, on the lower body day, there's the order there I would change up a little bit. So in the first one, he has a quad dominant superset, followed by a hamstring dominant superset, followed by then ending with a leg press at the very end. And I personally would have put the leg press before the hamstring dominant superset. The reason I would have done that is because the hamstring superset specifically was lying leg curls supersetted with back extensions. Okay, that's perfectly fine, but the leg press to me personally is more fatiguing. I would want to do that first before I did the hamstring superset. I still think even after doing the leg press, I still would have had plenty of energy left, or enough energy left to complete the superset sufficiently and optimally. But, in the way he programmed it, and a lot of you might find it differently. You have your energy where it's not as fatiguing to do that hamstring superset, so you want to do that first. And then that way, you do that well, and you still have enough energy left over to do the leg press at the end. Again, it's not wrong, not right or wrong here. He programmed it perfectly fine. If you want to do that, do it that way. Go for it. Personally, I would have switched the two. That's just the way that I like to do things. The programming overall, I think, is really well done. Just keep in mind, some of it might look like it's a lot. For example, in one of the programs, in that power building one, there's one day where he has 3 lower body exercises supersetted together, major ones, okay? So it can go from a hack squat to a Romanian deadlift into like a split squat, all of a superset, something like that, okay? That may seem like a lot, but again, it's a advanced program. So for those who have been training for, I'd say 5-10 years, something like that, who really put in the work for training, you'll be fine with that. But if you're someone who's an intermediate or beginner, no way should you be doing a program like that. You're just gonna get hurt, and he explains this, okay? Now, having said that, the app overall is great, but of course, do I have some feedback? Yes. The first is that when it comes to exercise substitutions in there, that you can change it out in the programs itself, I think it's great that he has that. But having said that, there's some things that I didn't honestly like. First off, I think he should have a video explaining exercise substitutions. This is something I've said countless times with almost everything I've reviewed. Okay, and also when you go in there to swap out, it doesn't explain really which one is the right one to swap out for, or which one's the right one to pick. And you can end up actually programming something that doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you swap things out. So it could end up actually programming in something that isn't going to really be all that beneficial. Again, you can tell it's kind of an automated sort of thing. It's not specific. It doesn't take into account the programming itself. So I think that's something that he needs to change a little bit, honestly. Just keep that in mind. If you reached out to him saying, is this a good substitution to make, I'm sure he would help you out and let you know whether it is or not. But that's, again, just something to keep in mind. And then the second thing here I want to mention, the feedback, is that in the programs themselves, okay, you can put in the weight that you used, but right there you should have a little explanation on how to pick the weight. Whether it be an RPE of whatever he's looking for or an idea, okay, he should have an explanation for it right there. Okay, and if you go through all his content, yes, we'll find in there a video on how to pick the right weight for it, but he should have it right there, all right? That overall, though, I think is the main feedback that I honestly have for it. The content he has is great. The information you're gonna learn is great. The programming itself is great, all right? There's a nice diet track in there. There's every exercise that he mentions, he demonstrates really, really well. Okay, I think he honestly could add a bit more content. Like I said, Joe Bennett's app is king right now for content, but he's still adding quite a bit, all right? You're not gonna left guessing, really, in this app, all right? And if you go to his YouTube channel, you can learn even more there. But inside the app there, again, he has everything like a crash course on muscle building, how it all works. He has collaborations from a ton of other people for you to learn, nutrition guides, how to pick the right supplements. It's all pretty much there. I think he just, again, needs to expand it just a little bit more. All right. But other than that, again, like I said, I definitely, absolutely do recommend this app. It's a great one to use. You're going to be learning from a really smart guy doing programs that are done really, really well. You can't really go wrong with this one. All right, guys, so that is my review for Eugene Teo's Ganbaru app, right? Definitely recommend it. And if there's another app specifically that you want me to go over, just let me know down below. And I will see you guys next week.